G'day folks, Stu from Stoo's Secret Stash here, and today we are back at the National Holden Museum in Coffs Harbour for a delightful day in the sun on the mid-north coast of New South Wales. And the National Holden Museum today is hosting, of all things, a Holden display. So we've got a number of Holdens on display today, plus at least one car that is not a Holden but was bodied by Holden. Of course, if you know the history behind Holden, you would know that Holden started off by building bodies and coachwork. So Stu's Secret Stash, the all Holden day. Stu's Secret Stash here today at the Holden Museum, and we're looking at an absolutely beautifully presented LC GTR Tirana, and this car has actually been owned by the one gentleman since new, and has travelled 200,000 miles. He has used it, has certainly not abused it, and it's been looked after in a way that it's preserving this wonderful historic car and the nostalgia that Australia holds for it. So just a beautifully presented GTR Tirana, and correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but that trim was it called Houndstooth? I don't know, I can't recall, but just a beautifully presented car, and it's wonderful to see this kind of history being preserved and on show. And of course, a VF Series 2 car here, and folks, the sadness behind all of this is the fact that you can't buy these anymore. So these really are the last of the Australian production cars, and it's wonderful to see these cars still being in use and the Roaring Lion being valued today. And what a terrible tragedy it is that we no longer have the Ford versus Holden uh, competition, I guess you could say, rivalry. Moving on, we've got a VE, another VE Commodore, so very similar to the VF that we just looked at. The VF have minor detail changes, but really was a terribly beautifully refined car. And looking at this here, another Tirana with a V8, of course, as most of them had. And it's certainly got the SLR 5000 livery on it. 1974 308 top loader and 9-inch diff. So the car is not running standard, but it's a really great reminder of motoring in the age past in the 1970s when petrol was freely available, and our muscle cars were really to the envy of many nations across the world. And we go from that muscle car to another muscle car, and we're looking at a car that was in the 2000s, 325 kilowatt HSV Club Sport R8. And this particular car I'm well aware of. It's just a beautifully presented car, really low mileage, very original, and very well looked after. But this one's been quite rare. It's an E3, so it's I believe not many of these were made, the VE E3, and there's the evidence of something quite rare, a 6.2 litre LS3 motor. And next to that, more modern Holden muscle with a VE GTS. And having seen this car previously, it's got some rather go fast gear on it. I know it's got a Harrop supercharger there, and this is not standard equipment, sporting a red point cap under the bonnet. But it's great to see motoring enthusiasts getting in there and supporting local motoring industries. And what a beautiful car, beautifully made and beautifully put together. And like I said, the tragedy is that they are no longer with us. but they live on in our memories, and we can maintain these cars and care for these cars and give them the credibility that they deserve. We've got a VE utility here, and of course, if you know about the history of the utility, it was something that was started by Australian farmers, something that was not popular in America in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and the early Australian bodies that were built by various manufacturers chopped the back up and made into this kind of step-side ute. And it became so popular because the farmers particularly could put stock or shopping or farming supplies in the boot. In the back, I should say. And this particular example, wonderful example of an SS, a V8 Holden ute, and you're looking there in the cabin, and not only does it have lots of luxuries like air conditioning and power steering, which the old utes certainly did not have, but it's manual. It's a manual V8, so it certainly would drive like a very, very powerful lounge chair. And I remember growing up with my father driving all kinds of different utes, from HQ Holdens to Datsun or Nissan Homer utes, and they were certainly not comfortable. And it's wonderful to see how civilized they got, unfortunately, before the end. And folks, we're looking here at a LJ XU1, a Holden Tirana, LJ Holden Tirana GTR XU1. And if you look in the engine bay, these were absolutely legendary at Bathurst, the 3 carbs. And I couldn't tell you a lot. I know they had a 202 motor, which was very, very powerful at the time, and they could really scoot around the track. But I've got the owner here who not only is the proud owner and keeper of the car, but did significant restoration of the car. How you going today, Joe?
Oh, good mate, how are you?
Good. Mate, tell us about this beautiful girl that you've got here.
Oh, she originally won. The only thing that's not original is the hinges are taken off the carbon, the cable,
Yep.
that's it.
Right,
Otherwise,
okay.
it's pretty well full original.
Yeah. And of course, they didn't make a large number of these.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how many. I've got no idea. But
Was this something you were deliberately hoping to get, or did you just come upon it?
it'd come upon it.
Wow.
It was in a bad way.
Yeah.
You know, so myself and my kids got into it and fixed it all up and got it going again.
And was it originally this colour?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
It's all original. Everything that you see in it is original.
Wow. And
except the accelerator cable.
Yeah, okay. And what's it like to drive on the open road?
Not too bad.
Yeah.
It gets something boogie sometimes. It gets along with the best of them.
So it could get you into trouble if you weren't careful.
Oh, very easy. Very easy.
And I'm guessing that you wouldn't be able to tell me how many miles per gallon it would do, but you would be able to tell me that it gives you plenty of miles per gallon.
Oh shit, yeah. Yeah, plenty of miles per gallon. If you're going to count your dollars in fuel, mate, you don't buy those cars.
That's exactly right.
So
yeah.
You buy them to enjoy them, not to whinge about them.
Precisely right.
Yeah, well, but yeah, that's not too bad, bud. Yeah, it's not too bad. If you're conservative with your foot, it's not too bad.
Yes. No, thank you for sharing with us, and I'll have a bit more of a look and admire your workmanship, and thank you for being the custodian of such a beautiful car.
No worries, thanks.
Good to see you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Look after yourself, mate.
You too, mate. There you have it, folks. Joe with his the proud owner of his XU1, and what a beautiful, beautiful car. Very simple, the Tiranas. The black vinyl was very 70s, and with the loud paintwork. Of course, if you know about these Tiranas, they came out in, compared to today's cars, which sport a lot of whites and gunmetal greys, these XU1s came out in some pretty amazing colours. There was and I won't quote the names, but there were orange. There was this orange colour. There was a metallic orchid kind of colour, a metallic pink or purple. There was also a lime green and a metallic blue, and a number of other, a silver mink as well, and a number of really fascinating colours, particularly when you look at the fact of what we're doing with our cars today and the very mundane colours that we came out with. So certainly a pleasure to see something like this. Moving on to the next car. Now this is something that you probably may not expect to see at a Holden display, but believe it or not, this is a 1936 Buick 8, and this particular Buick 8 was a Holden bodied. So beautiful old machine, built by Holden many years ago in 1936, and for that significance, oh thank you, owners even keeping the door open. Thank you, Tim. And bodied by Holden. So I guess you could say this is a little bit of a United Nations car in a way, which is just lovely and beautifully preserved and cared for by the owner, who is known locally for being a car enthusiast like most of us, a tragic. Moving on, we've got an absolutely delightful E.H. Holden ute, and this particular example, beautifully cared for. I am friends with the person who owns this car, and looking at the condition, you would think that this car is hidden away and rarely driven. The reality is that it's on full registration and is driven regularly, very regularly, used, certainly not abused, used and appreciated, and just a delightful, reliable machine, and probably way better than what originally came out of the factory. So just a glorious EH ute. And of course, folks, moving on to the VR GTS Commodore. Happens to be my own car, so I won't harp on too much about it, but this is number 62 of 277 built. And this particular car is in Diablo Red. It's a 6-speed manual and has only done a very low mileage from new. So it's something that's very precious and dear to my heart. And just a beautiful car. Of course, if you know about these, I will feature this car in a future test. This car has the Holden stroker. That's a 5.7 litre Holden motor, not the Chev motor, that was available in the VR and VS GTS's, Senators and Grange, which was a derivation of the Statesman. And looking on here, talking about the Statesman, we have one of the last, well, not quite that new, but certainly within the last decade or so of Holden producing Statesmans. And this particular car is a V8, and just a beautiful road presence with these cars, and certainly a stunning road machine, having been an owner of numerous Statesmans. Delightful lounge chairs, I guess you could say, and such a relaxed cruiser. Folks, we've got a absolutely gorgeous HQ Statesman 308, and look at the presentation of this vehicle. Just incredible. The whole car is just shining beautifully. I assume it's been restored, but beautifully presented. A turquoisey paint job, and T-bar auto, probably running a turbo 400 box or a 350. And looking here, I would guess with the black roof that it probably originally had a black vinyl roof. Of course, as you know, that was something that was very period, but the black vinyl roofs were somewhat unpopular because cars used to rust under the vinyl, and it was actually became known that the vinyl roofs were on the cars because they didn't paint the body underneath, the metal underneath. So something that really has tastefully been upgraded, and probably much better for the car. Looking at here, back to another late model. When I say late model, 2000s Commodore. Some people are shy. It's not like Rodney there to be shy. An SS Commodore with obviously sporting an LS motor. And Chev was very popular with the sporting sedans that Holden offered in the SSs. Moving on, folks, we've got an EK Holden, the 1961 EK Holden, and again, lovely to see Red Point being displayed and promoted. And this particular car, look at the detail in the engine bay of this beautiful machine, from motoring past, and just gorgeous, just beautifully presented, with the spats and with the, I think these were NASCO extras, these uh, side protectors, the window protectors, and just at an age with the white wool tyres when motoring was just beautiful and cute in its own way. And here we have, folks, a Holden, a WB Holden Ute. Looks like it's got a Statesman front on it, which was a common thing. Looking at that, it's got a HZ or one of those H series Holden fronts on it, and it's obviously been resprayed, and it's great to see these machines appreciated and being looked after. And wow, what a straight body this is. It's been beautifully done. And moving on, we've got a car for sale, folks. 2001 VU SS50. So the SS50 was the 50th anniversary of the Holden Ute. So not only was it an SS and a V8, but it had, I guess you could say, little extras on it to promote the fact that 50 years of the Holden Ute. And dare I say, this car will be certainly sought after because it's an SS, but even more sought after because of the fact that it's an anniversary. And looking at the last vehicle here, I do know the owner of this car. It has actually been in the family since new. HX Holden, as the details say there, and has even got a copy of the invoice there. HX Holden, same family since new. 4.2 litre, 253. So 253 was one of the V8 motors on offer, and just a delightfully original and finished car. And what a beautiful piece of history. And to make it even more authentic, the owner has kept the original Rego sticker on. So June 1978. And that's just delightful to see. Just beautiful, beautiful car, and makes me so proud to see the industry that we once had. So, folks, I'm in the foyer of the National Holden Museum, and I've got one of the valued staff members here, Mitchell. How are you going today, Mitchell?
Yeah, very pumped today. We've got a bit of show and shine happening. So
and what a great display! It's you never know when you start these things what kind of response you're going to get.
Yeah, definitely a great turn up today, and lots of cars that we haven't seen before. A few people out of town, a few Tiranas, and all sorts of things out there today. Yeah.
And some new, like you say, new machines that we didn't know existed, and they're out there, and people are really motivated to keep this nostalgia alive.
Yeah.
And being a Holden owner yourself, you've got that beautiful silver Statesman out there.
Yeah.
Lovely car. Tell me, why Holdens? What's the appeal of a Holden?
I suppose it sort of started when I was a kid. Always wanted a Holden, always had a Ford.
Right.
So maybe a bit of rebellion against my parents. And from there, when the time came I could get my own, I started with a Commodore, as people normally do. And then every day when I go to work, the publican out the front in Coffs here, there was a WM Statesman out the front. And I thought,
right,
one day
yes,
I want one
yes.
of them. It was teasing me every day.
Oh, wow.
Work. And then eventually, finally ended up with my own one. So yeah.
And it wasn't that car though, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No. But that planted the seed for your future acquisition, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you're involved with, I guess you could say, keeping the dream alive here and the passion alive for Holden.
Yeah.
What kind of responses have you been getting from people at the museum, seeing the pieces, which we will do another story at a later date?
Yeah.
How have you found that to be? The feedback from the public.
Yeah, it's always very nostalgic. People walk down, especially what I call Commodore Lane.
Yes.
And all you start at the WB and go right down the model lineup, and even some of the other cars too. It's either the one they had, their parents had, the one they had but sold and regret selling.
Yes.
Everyone's got their own story. and it's really good. It's a trip down memory lane for them.
Absolutely. Of course, the WB was an interesting one because the WB wasn't actually badged as a Commodore, but it was the forerunner for the Commodore, the very last of the Kingswood shape, leading into the early V Commodores.
Yeah, branded as the Statesman by Holden as its own
Yes,
marquee.
yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, it was definitely something different for them.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for talking with us. And I noticed your T-shirt, HSV. I just want one.
Just want one day.
Is that a prophecy statement there?
Maybe watch this space. Yeah.
Stay tuned, folks. And great to talk to you, Mitchell. And no doubt we'll see a lot more of you in the future. Thanks, mate.
Stu.
Bye.
So, you like the VR? VR's nice!
So what do you think, mate? V8s are great?
Mother of these! Oh, come again!
I think that's a we approve.
He's been waiting all day for the everyone leave.
Fantastic, fantastic. And that, folks, is a successful day, I think.
Have fun.
Over and out.